Hi guys, it is a gloomy, almost winter night here in the end times in paradise, and I'm in East Bumblefuck, New Mexico, but I'm talking to my old buddy Valhalafivesix. We're going to call him Val. And this is, Val, you're going to be the second interview in Humpty Dumpty tribe history. So what I want to start...
Number one.
No, you got beat out by Carolyn Baker,
Yeah.
but I want to do something a little different here on Humpty Dumpty Tribe. Not only do I want to talk about these people who are getting interviewed all the time, as they should, I want to just start introducing the tribe to some new, fresh voices here in the eco-Nazi rabbit hole, or whatever you call this. And so today...
Awesome.
We're going to be interviewing one of my lieutenants, and that is Valhala. And so I'm just, I don't know this man much more than anyone else, just mostly by his comments. So I'm going to get to know this man a lot here in the next 30 minutes or so. And we're going to start off, about all I know is Val is a fellow Georgia boy. I'm a city boy from Atlanta, but Val is a country boy from Waycross, Georgia, down there by the Okefenokee Swamp. And I have to admit, I don't get many rednecks from the Okefenokee Swamp down this rabbit hole, so we're going to let Val tell us how a country boy from Waycross, Georgia ever ended up on Humpty Dumpty Tribe. So introduce yourself and tell us how you got here.
All right. Hey, Humpty Dumpty Tribe friends. Unlike you, Hambone, I didn't have a mushroom god revelation. Mine was more mundane. I'd seen the movie Soylent Green in the early 70s and read Paul Ehrlich's books on the population bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And then I, kind of took a soma pill, and kind of went to sleep for 30 years or so.
So how old were you back then? I mean, you're a couple of years older than me. So when you read the population bomb, about what are we talking about? Teenage?
That was like 16, teenage.
So you were a 16-year-old kid in Waycross, Georgia,
right,
reading the population bomb. How the hell did you ever hear of that book?
Because I got Asperger's and I was interested in that sort of stuff. Yeah.
But, I mean, how did you find it in Waycross, Georgia?
They have a library. They have a library.
And they actually would allow that book in. I am amazed. So that kind of that was the original little inkling of an idea that things might be going the wrong way on this planet. But you say you went back to sleep for 30 years, so when did you wake back up?
2007 with peak oil. Started hearing a lot about peak oil, Jim Kunstler, Richard Heinberg, the late Matthew Simmons, the movie, but that was concerning peak oil, and then the Al Gore movie, Inconvenient Truth. But at the time, it wasn't a serious, catastrophic problem. It was, we need to deal with this.
We're talking 10 years ago. 10 years ago. You're 2007 you're talking about.
Yeah, I was more concerned with peak oil at the time.
So where do you stand on that? I've flip-flopped around on that fence. What side of the peak oil fence would you describe yourself on right now?
Well, the experts, Heinberg et al., Matthew Simmons, of course, who's no longer with us, Kunstler, they were not expecting the fracking boom, which came, so they were expecting, complete peak oil prices shooting up to the stratosphere, the country collapsing because of, and also Guy McPherson was expecting the same thing. That was his hope, that peak oil would stop industrial civilization. But because of fracking and the technical ability to get tight oil out of the ground in the Alberta tar sands and all that, it didn't happen. In fact, the prices went even lower to where they are now, $2 a gallon. So but it only delayed it. It only delayed the situation. But at the same time, at the very same time, climate change seemed to be overshadowing the peak oil situation. And it was looking much more serious than the problems that would be caused by peak oil.
So the bottom line question that I keep asking myself and trying to answer, what is your answer to this question? So we've got the peak oil guys on one side, and then we have, I guess it was, who was it who came up, which one of these guys, pointed out that that right now there's enough oil already that they've discovered without even finding any more to take this planet Venus 5 times over before we have to worry about peak oil. And that's kind of the side of the fence I'm on. The
planet is got a lot of oil. We're not running out of oil. It's just in hard to get places, and they are doing everything they can to extract this oil. And till it becomes a situation where there is no profit. So they will continue with extraction until it becomes a parity of you're not making any money, which we're close to now. So it could have been Heinberg or Kunstler, who said something like that. Kunstler seems to have dropped out of the extreme peak oil situation. So but apparently climate change is way more daunting than peak oil seemed at the time.
So you think we're going to go Venus before peak oil takes down global industrial civilization?
Oh my God, yeah. No doubt about it. And the Venus situation, of course, Venus has a surface temperature of 800 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, I realize that going Venus, I think people I think people understand that we're being a little bit ironic when we're talking about that, because it doesn't need to go to 800. It needs to go up for about 5 or 6 degrees to take us out.
That's what they're saying. 5, 6 degrees C. Yes. No doubt about it.
So with your reading of the handwriting on the wall, now I'm never one to walk into the trap of putting a date, but I think you might be more ballsy than me on this. What is your personal opinion on how long do we have as a species? Are you part of the Guy McPherson?
Yes, I'm part of the Guy McPherson.
Whatever you call it.
I don't call it a cult. But I would say that one thing I keep wondering is if there's some black swan, I don't know if you're familiar with that term.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a prize situation that's not being expected like some government project that they're working on. Geoengineering, it's secret right now that they're going to extract CO2 from the atmosphere, and the one thing that makes me think that's possible is that people like Elon Musk or even Trump today, who rolled back all of the Obama climate change directives, dismantling the core policies that have made the U.S. leader in, you wouldn't agree with that, in curbing emissions. And did you happen to see that Trump speech?
No, I can't listen to that guy. I can't listen to him talk for more than 30 seconds before I throw a brick through my computer, and It
was pretty stunning. It was stunning. I mean, it was everything the clueless Morons wanted to hear.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. I was busy, but I sat down. I had to watch it.
So how do you rate who I would call Barack Obama? What his policies that Trump rolled back? From your reading, obviously you spend a lot of time, probably more time on the climate change thing than I do. What is your reading of Obama's climate policy? Was what he came up with what we needed to do to save this planet from climate change?
Okay, I would say half greenwashing and half to have a legacy so that when everything goes to shit, they can't go back and say, well, Obama didn't do anything. You can say, well, I tried. I put these policies in. It was Trump who rolled everything back that I tried.
Yeah.
I think that they're pitiful policies, but he could at least lay claim to that.
But was it enough to accomplish anything, in your opinion, or not?
No, not at all. I mean, it was, barely greenwashing, man. It was pathetic, just a bit of a show. I mean, look, he reversed the pipeline in North Dakota right before he left office.
Yeah.
Trump just changed it. He knew Trump was going to change that.
Of course he did. Of course.
It was an empty victory when Obama did that.
Well, it was just to get him through the pearly gates, is what I think. But anyway, this is your rant. This is your rant, not mine.
Absolutely. I also want to mention that another thing that made a big impact on me was the Deepwater Horizon in the Gulf of Mexico. I believe it was like 2010, 11.
Yeah, 2010,
and that was a big realization that things were going south, big time. And I don't think it's over. But I'm not going to go into all that. But I think the oil's still leaking. Myself.
You think the oil is what? I'm sorry, you didn't...
I think the oil is still leaking out of the hole that was made by the Macondo situation. And they're covering it up in Florida.
Yeah, covering it up in the media. You don't mean physically covering it up with what was it, golf balls they were talking about at one point?
Oh, I think they're I know somebody just got back from Florida. They're every day they're dredging the beaches to keep the beaches from going underwater at the resort areas.
Yeah.
And and if there's any kind of oil washing up or corrects it or whatever, they're covering everything up. They're covering up the methane. They're covering up Fukushima. The die-offs, animal die-offs. They're covering up all of it. Or just blacking it out of the media.
Yeah. Let's, you mentioned the word methane right before I called you. I was, reading, which I'm going to talk about in my climate change roundup. That article that I mentioned about a case that came out in December, just the latest study about the methane bomb, and then we have even making the Washington Post this week about these 7,000 these things going on over there in Siberia that are expected to blow.
It's amazing. It's stunning.
I take it you do not agree with Paul Beckwith's latest assessment that there is no methane bomb. How are you reading these 7,000 things getting ready to blow this summer? I mean, where could we be, in your opinion, literally by the end of this summer?
Well, somebody left a comment on your channel. I don't remember who. He said that this summer is going to be horrific. And the guy McPherson said next summer will be the last summer televised. Yeah. Not this summer, but the summer of 2018. And also, as far as Paul Beckwith, he's inconsistent. He's met with contradictory titling, saying we've gone off the cliff. He's literally titled his videos, "We have gone off the cliff," but then going back with this three-legged bar stool of geoengineering, cutting emissions. I forget what the third one is. With this kind of delusional belief that just him making these comments, statements, and totally ignoring that Trump has basically rolled back every climate initiative that's happened. I mean, it's quite obvious that's not going to happen. And so my view, Professor Beckwith, is delusional.
Well, I wonder, as I say, I think part of that literally is the fact that he has three children, and how can it's like how can you not be at this point if you have three small
Right.
children, looking ahead to their future.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And he makes some very detailed scientific videos. Some of them are above my hand, a little bit too detailed for me. He's basically giving one of the science classes.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if some of them are extremely kind of boring in a way, unlike yours, Hambo. You're never boring.
I'm no scientist. Well, speaking of which, I mean, I'm sure some people are going to be interested. What in your own personal resume? Is there anything in your own personal resume that would, you know how it is, quote, make people listen to you? You know what I'm saying? Or are you just someone who's simply taken the time to pull their head out of their ass and read the handwriting on the wall? Obviously you spend a whole lot of time researching this. Do you have any sort of formal education training, or I mean, I don't. I was just wondering if you do.
I have a bachelor's in physics. I do have some scientific background, but to be quite transparent with you, talking to people around me, including my family, I do not talk about this because I know that they don't want to hear it, and they also get bored by it. I do talk about it all over the internet with it, but as far as real people, not the imaginary people on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't talk to people at all about it. They may mention something about climate change, but I don't think that. What am I going to? I convince a couple of people. What's that going to do? It's not going to do anything. You do a lot with what you do on your channel. You have a lot of your viewers are growing exponentially. But for me, just talking to one or two people, and you have friends, and
But I don't talk. I mean, I don't talk about it with any of my friends any more than you do. They don't want to hear it. They have no interest.
They don't want to hear it. Right. So there you go. So we just basically take our message, your message, to the internet, which has got a much wider amount of people looking at it and weighing the evidence.
It's a little bit of preaching to the choir, there's that, but, I mean, what are you going to do? We need people preaching. We need choirs in church, but, at the same time, there's not a damn thing that you're going to say in this interview that I've said probably in 6 years of doing this,
Well, I'll mention this, okay? When I'm watching Trump talking about President Trump, not that he deserves the title, but talking about rolling back everything as far as carbon in the atmosphere, he mentioned something about they're gonna delete a bunch of laws, environmental laws. They said we're gonna have clean water and clean air, and that's the stuff that the clueless sheeple out there, trumpets. They don't want shit in their water. They don't. But as far as climate change, they don't believe it. They don't believe it. Period. So what I'm thinking is maybe they have some sort of Manhattan Project. A secret government Manhattan Project going on to remove carbon from the atmosphere. Maybe that's what's going on. That's why they're not worried about it. It's a possibility.
I think a pretty remote possibility, but
it's a very remote possibility. But then I'm wondering what Elon Musk is going on with. He's starting a new company having to do with it's called Neuralace, so that we can directly interface with the cloud, the electronic cloud, internet without any physical devices like computers or cell phones. And they're making plans that are inconsistent with what Professor McPherson is saying. You know, these long-range plans, going to Mars, and this and that. You know, the Tesla electric car models 2030, 35 that are. So I'm thinking, what do they know that we don't know?
Well, it's just I don't know if it's what do they know or what are they possibly thinking that they know, but what's going on with those? What's going on with those tunnels that Elon's digging also?
Well, firstly, I think you know, as brilliant as Elon Musk is, I think he's gone a bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs with the tunnels. And also the Neuralink project that he just registered as a business in the state of California.
Yeah.
That's the fourth business after the Tesla automobiles, Solar City, and SpaceX. So he's just starting this Neuralink business.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that today, but then I got sidetracked onto another one of the wackos that Maureen Dowd was interviewing, so I didn't even talk about her interview with Elon Musk.
That AJ video was awesome too, man.
You need to read that article. If anyone listening to this, go. I put a link in that. It's a long article in Vanity Fair that came out. Excellent article.
Right.
It takes about an hour to read the whole thing, but anyway, just to let guys know. Let's talk about. We've brushed up against the whole subject of geoengineering and other what I call techno-utopian.
Right.
What is your general opinion? Is there any chance that this is even going to get off the ground? And if it does, is it going to do a damn thing to save this planet, or is it just going to throw us into a whole nother mess that we haven't even considered yet? Where are you on the whole geoengineering, just Paul Beckwith, geoengineering save the planet?
Well, you know, when some people get cancer, they go to extreme cures to they can't accept the situation. Take chemotherapy, for example, which is a horrible treatment regimen. You know, you lose your air, you lose your appetite, vomit, all kinds of horrible side effects, but people want to live. And so I think that if the industrial civilization is still up and going, they will do everything it takes, you know, to lower the planet's temperature, the fever that the planet is having. So I think that if they have the means, they will do it. I'm convinced of that. What are they going to do? Just let the planet cook? I don't think so.
So you do think they are pulling how many years out do you think before that we literally start seeing what the wackos call chemtrails, where they really are what Dane Wigington and the guys say who think is happening now? Do you think it's already happening behind the scenes, or do you think we're on the cusp of it? How is your reading, particularly of solar radiation management, which oversimplification meaning chemtrails? Where do you think we are on that timeline?
At the very least, they're in the testing phase. At the very least. In fact, I think I read a mainstream article that they were, you know, doing some SRM testing. So at the very least, they're doing that. And of course, you had Professor Beckwith talking about making a man-made volcano.
Yeah.
To blow particulate into the atmosphere to kind of lower the temperature. But no doubt that they're considering all possibilities, at least behind the scenes, you know. No doubt about it. But I think that the industrial civilization is still up and the temperature is heating, that they will definitely do SRM. No doubt about it. But what are they going to do? They're just not going to let us cook. So, you know, yeah, definitely. So,
are you a supporter of this idea, or How would you describe your own opinion about those what I would call the techno utopians?
What they say is that there would be a lot of unknown side effects that could be even worse than the like the old story that the operation was a success but the patient died.
Yeah.
So there could be all kinds of side effects that are worse than the solar radiation, changing weather patterns, rain patterns, all that kind of stuff, or even worse.
Well, I'm thinking of a new ice age. I mean, we're talking about a pretty narrow band. If that volcano is just a little bit too big, we're gonna be looking at Manhattan, a mile under ice instead of under liquid water. They better get that son of a bitch just right.
But I don't think they have the time to do that. But I think that because I have family, that anything to buy a little more time, I'm pretty much for. To buy, if it was just me on this planet and I had no loved ones, then no, I'd be against it. But since I got family, I'm for it. For one of Paul's three-legged bar stools, any type of techno fix, but realizing though that it could go horribly wrong.
But if we just leave it I just keep saying frying pan or the fire is your choice, guys. Well, I mean, we're fucked. Either way we play this game, we're in such a trap. We have put ourselves into such a trap. I don't see us getting out of it one way or the other.
I don't see it either. People die on chemotherapy all the time. The chemo fails, and they die.
Yeah.
But they give it as, some people choose not to have the chemotherapy, and let nature take its course, I think as a rule that people will choose anything. I don't think the public will be involved in this discussion, but if they were, and the planet is cooking and the food is gone, they'll be begging for anything to happen.
Yeah.
But I also think that they will not understand what's going on, and they will blame the problem of food shortages or whatever on other things, and not on climate change. And that the deniers are even the worst. I believe that the deniers will deny all the way till they, have heat stroke and die. And claim that there's no such thing as climate change and global warming. Deny it all the way. Some of them, even worse, I think will switch when they realize that they were wrong and claim that they were climate change advocates all the time, and they never denied it. When they got their kids looking at them and saying, I tried everything I could.
Oh yeah, I can see Alex Jones trying to weasel his way out of this one.
And reversing themselves, and yes, absolutely.
Well, I can't believe we are good Lord, we are already up to 29 minutes, so I know we ain't going to wrap this up in 1 minute, but I do want to touch on this whole thing. Now, I've noticed, and I'm sure other people who have read your comments on my channel and others, that you seem to have a fairly cavalier sense of humor about the whole situation. So it doesn't sound to me like you would describe yourself as a depressed collapsitarian. So how do you just go about your day? If you honestly believe, if you're in the Guy McPherson camp and you think we might be gone in 10 years, how do you just your day-to-day life deal with this shit? Just through sick, twisted, ironic humor? Is that your way of handling it?
Well, Guy McPherson uses this phrase, live a life of excellence, which I'm not sure exactly what he means like that. For me, it's more like carpe diem, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I try to, have the most happen that's not bad as possible, and still remain connected to your message that you put out, and not totally go into denial, and so you basically compartmentalize it all, basically.
Well, that's pretty much what you have to do. Otherwise, you would put a bullet through your damn head.
Yeah, and I've thought about that too, but I'm not quite there yet.
Well. So it's gonna take a little more, but we will see how this methane bomb blows this summer.
Right.
All right. Well, anyway, I just want to throw the floor open here since we've gone into the dangerous 30-minute territory, and I understand that the average viewership of one of my videos, I've actually made it to 7 minutes and 4 seconds, I've noticed. So I've actually broken the 7-minute barrier. So, even despite the fact that we've probably just been the two of us talking to each other for the past 24 minutes, I just want to throw it out there. What else? If you had 2 minutes to get some message out on Humpty Dumpty Tribe, what is that message you want to part with?
The message I want to part with is that when we try to spread this message, some people are not going to be receptive to this. Some people may be too young. You don't want to come out and tell somebody who's 20 years old and they just had some babies, you got no future. Their future is going to be horrific, or there may be no future at all. And to impress what the truth, our views to these people, and try to figure out who's receptive to hearing the message. And they don't come down in children's hospitals and tell the full truth to small children. If they got brain cancer or something, they don't break it down. Some people just is not what I'm saying is lying, basically, kind of white lies to protect them from the worst news possible.
And let them figure it out themselves and come into the message themselves.
Or when they get the appropriate age, you don't tell a 5-year-old the birds and the bees. You wait till they're at an age where they can kind of grok what's going on. We can try to spread the truth, but some people it may not be appropriate to tell the full, at least Guy McPherson message, to them at this time.
Well, as far as spreading the message, now you do have your own channel, Val. I keep wondering with all the damn time you spend commenting on my channel and everyone else's channels, when are we going to see some more videos from you, brother? When are you going to get out there on the rock? And
well, pal, you do such an outstanding job. I can't even come close to the. In fact, sometimes I wonder, if these chicken coops and rocks and in the river in Austin, Texas, are sets, to kind of give this sort of atmosphere to your videos, instead of a professional set, to make it seem like the message is more important than some $10 million studio. and so you already, like you said, man, we're here, Humpty Dumpty Tribe, to support you, man, to get the conversation going.
That's what we're here for. That's what I'm doing right now is getting the conversation going. But I do wish that you obviously have a lot to offer, so you at least have my vote to get out there and join me in this tilting at windmills in this Don Quixote Sancho Panza crusade, tilting at fracking rigs, as I say. I'm
at your side all the way to the bitter end, Hambone.
All right, brother. Well, I sure appreciate this, and I'll stick around after I'm going to wrap this up, and we'll talk in a minute. So anyway, guys, that was our old buddy Valhalafivesix. So now I hope that you know a little bit more about the man behind all the smart remarks on the comments. We do enjoy Val's running commentary on the comments and look forward to plenty more. And and please send us your comments. Let's cheer Val on, and let's all tell him he needs to get his own channel up and going, and let him know. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up because I got to get up early tomorrow morning, so I'm actually going to get together on my own climate change meltdown roundup rant here on Tuesday night before I go to bed, so I can get out of here in the morning. And maybe tomorrow I'll bring an interview with yet another tribes member. But for this one, we do appreciate what you do, Val. And hasta luego, amigo.
Hasta luego.
Right. Bye, guys.